Welcome to the Savvy Podcasting for Entrepreneurs podcast, a place for podcasters to learn what's actually working in the world of podcasting and how to use their podcast to generate consistent leads in their business. I'm your host, Jenny, and I'm so excited you're here.
Hey Savvies, welcome back to another episode of Savvy Podcasting for Entrepreneurs. I'm back on the podcast today after a week-long hiatus. So I'm in Texas and we had a bit of a freak snowstorm last week and we lost power for several days. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to get a new episode out last week, but that's okay because I'm back. We're back with power now and we're just dealing with some repairs after we had a pipe burst in my son's room. So we're super grateful that that is the only damage that was done and that no one was seriously hurt. So thank you guys for your patience with my recent week breaks lately. I know I've taken a couple of breaks here and there, but consistency is super important to me. So unless any other random unforeseen circumstances occur soon, I will be back to releasing episodes every single Thursday. So that is my little update for you guys. Now let's get into the episode. So in the last episode, I shared with you why you probably shouldn't have a podcast if monetizing is your only goal. So today I'm actually going to be diving into what to do before you start monetizing your podcast, both with your own offers and sharing other products and services via affiliate marketing and ad sponsorships, if you choose to go that route. But before you dive in, I wanted to mention my free masterclass, How to Make Money from Your Podcast Without Relying on Ad Sponsorships. Because contrary to popular belief, ad sponsorships are not the only way to monetize. So yeah, if you guys want to sign up for the free class, you can head to savvypodcastingforentrepreneurs.com/free and grab your free seat into the class today. And let's get back into the episode. So as an entrepreneur, you can definitely start sharing your offers from the very beginning of your podcast so that you can build your email list and start getting your listeners into your funnel. But it's important to take these crucial steps before diving into that. So let's get into those steps that you need to take. So you won't retain listeners if your content sucks, for lack of a better word. So first things first, make sure that your content is something that your audience really, really wants to hear from you. I always recommend keeping a running list of potential podcast topics and getting them on your calendar so you never have to worry about what you're going to be talking about each and every week. I even then encourage you to poll your audience and see what kind of content that they're craving from you so that you can serve them in the very best way possible, because you don't want to put out content that they don't care about. So once you have your episode topics planned out, then go through your current offers, both free and paid, and then correlate those offerings with your episode topics and organically weave them into your episodes. You can either do this by recording a standalone ad segment that can be inserted into your episode, or you can organically weave it into the content where it makes sense, so as you're talking. So another great tip is to start with your free offers on your show. So if your podcast content and your free content are super valuable and action-packed, so your free offers and your podcast content, that's what I'm referring to, your listeners will be more inclined to take you up on your paid offers when the time comes. So that's really important to keep in mind, and just really continue giving away tons of value in your free content because it's going to matter when your paid offers come. So free offers that tend to convert well with most listeners are things like checklists, masterclasses, blueprints, from my experience. I'm sure there's other things that have converted well for others, but that's just kind of what has done well for me and my clients. So another thing that you can do prior to monetizing is working on growing your audience, because audience growth is key when it comes to things like ad sponsorships and affiliates even. So having 30 super loyal and engaged listeners is great, obviously, but that's really not going to fly with most sponsorship partners. So getting your download numbers up is important if you want to take your podcast to the next level with ad sponsorships. And this is obviously not the only way to do things, but it's definitely a way that you can do things. So I just wanted to mention it. But some creative ways to grow your listenership are by utilizing social media like TikTok or Instagram Reels, because that reaches a wider audience that probably doesn't even know that your podcast even exists. Traditional social media platforms are great too, so like Facebook and things like that. But these two channels are some that I've seen working super well for my clients lately, and making reels that have their face in them and things like that have been really successful for my clients. So I just wanted to mention that. But a big one that I've always recommended and always loved is Pinterest, and that's really great for podcast growth. And as a former Pinterest strategist and social media manager, it's just one of my favorite ways to get eyes on your podcast. So if you are someone who serves females, then your people are most likely on Pinterest. Of course, there's definitely some males on Pinterest, and the male population on Pinterest is growing each year, but mostly still females right now. So if you have females in your audience, then you need to get on the Pinterest train. And another great way to grow your podcast is by being a guest on other people's podcasts. This really allows you to be seen as an expert in your niche, and you can direct their listeners back to your show to learn more. So it's kind of a win-win. The guest or the host gets content, and then you get the experience, and you can direct people elsewhere. So Pinterest and guesting on other podcasts are my two biggest suggestions for growing your listenership, but you can also do Reels, Instagram, just like regular Instagram, Instagram stories, TikTok. There's so many different ways. But once you have increased your downloads and are seeing a solid return on investment from sharing your own freebies on your show, then it might be time to look into monetizing your podcast further, whether that is via affiliate marketing and or ad sponsorships. And next week, we'll be diving even further into this topic and chatting about the 4 ways to monetize your podcast. So stay tuned. And make sure to join me for Podcasting Happy Hour. It's going to be every single Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Central Time, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Clubhouse. Last week I wasn't able to host due to the snowstorm situation here in Texas, but I'm really excited to do this next week, so next Wednesday and every other Wednesday moving forward, unless something crazy happens. But if you guys want to join me for this, head on over to Clubhouse and follow me at Jenny Sunnison and turn on your notifications so that you get notified when I go live, and we can chat every Wednesday evening on Clubhouse. And if you still need an invite, make sure to DM me on Instagram at Jenny Sunnison. I do have a couple of invites still, so I'd be happy to invite you, and I can't wait to see you there. So that is it for today's episode. If you want to check out the show notes for today's episode, you can find them at savvypodcastingforentrepreneurs.com, and I will see you in the next episode.
If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcast player like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Stitcher, and leave a review. You can find us at savvypodcastingforentrepreneurs.com and on Facebook at Savvy Podcasting for Entrepreneurs and Instagram at Savvy Podcasting. Make sure to join our free Facebook community for podcasters by going to savvypodcastingforentrepreneurs.com/community and join in on the exclusive community just for Savvy Podcasting for Entrepreneurs listeners. I'll see you there.